The bus shuddered to a stop in front of the Ashgrave Hotel, its tall broken windows staring down at the students like dead eyes. Mira pressed her forehead to the glass, unease crawling beneath her skin. The teachers insisted it was the only available lodging for the school's annual history club trip. But even from the bus, the place looked wrong, leaning too far forward as if listening. "I thought they closed this place years ago," Mira whispered, her voice trembling with a fear she didn't understand. Her best friend Devin nudged her shoulder. "Relax. It's just old, not cursed." But the forced smile on his face twitched when the front doors creaked open by themselves. The cold wind that spilled out smelled like damp earth and something metallic, almost like blood. Mira swallowed hard, clutching her journal. She kept notes of everything strange she sensed. Her therapist called it grounding, but sometimes it felt more like documenting warnings no one else noticed. Inside, the lobby was dim, illuminated by a single flickering chandelier. Their teacher, Mr. Halden, insisted, "We'll only be here 2 nights. History never hurt anyone." His voice cracked as if even he didn't believe the lie. Mira felt eyes on her, though the room was empty. "Do you hear that?" she asked, pausing. Devin frowned. "Hear what?" The faint sound, soft dragging footsteps, slithered through the hallway behind them. When the group moved deeper into the hotel, Mira lagged behind. Her breath fogged in the strangely cold air. The footsteps grew louder, more deliberate, matching her pace. "Stop following me," she whispered shakily, turning around. No one stood there, but she noticed something that made her blood run cold. A set of fresh, wet footprints leading directly toward her and ending only a few inches away. She stared at them, unable to breathe. Whatever made them wasn't human. The students were assigned their rooms in pairs, but Mira felt dread coil through her stomach when her key rattled with the etched number 304. The brass key looked older than the hotel itself, scratched, bent, and warm like something had been holding it before her. Devin noticed the way she froze. "Mira, it's just a room," he said, though his voice wavered. She didn't answer. The elevator groaned as they stepped inside, its dim bulbs flickering like they were struggling to stay alive. When the door shut, Mira murmured, "Something is wrong with this place. It feels like it's waiting." The 3rd floor smelled of mold and stale perfume, as if ghosts of old guests still lingered in the air. Their footsteps echoed too loudly, as though the hallway was stretching behind them. When they reached room 304, Mira hesitated. The door was slightly open. "Mr. Halden must have checked it earlier," Devin said, though the doubt in his eyes betrayed him. Mira pushed the door open slowly. Inside, the room was unnaturally cold, the wallpaper peeling in long strips like flayed skin. A single mirror hung crooked above the desk, its reflection slightly delayed, as if the room inside it moved on its own time. While Devin unpacked, Mira approached the mirror. Her reflection stared back, but something was wrong. Its eyes were a fraction too wide. "Devin, come here," she whispered. But when he joined her, the reflection corrected itself. Perfectly normal. "You're stressed," he said gently. "This place is creepy, sure, but your mind is playing tricks." Mira wanted to believe him. She opened her journal to record what she saw, but the page was not blank. Someone had already written there in jagged handwriting, "You shouldn't have come to my floor." Her breath hitched, the words burning into her mind. "Devin, I didn't write this." He paled, but tried to reason with himself. "Maybe you wrote it earlier and forgot." But Mira shook her head violently. "No, this isn't my handwriting." As she spoke, a soft knock sounded at the door. Slow, measured, too heavy to be from any student. She and Devin froze. The knob rattled, twisting back and forth as something outside scraped its nails across the wood. Mira whispered, "Who's there?" The answer came in a hiss through the crack beneath the door. "I'm in the mirror." The door stopped rattling, but the silence that followed felt heavier than any noise. Devin backed away, whispering, "It has to be a prank, right?" Mira shook her head, eyes fixed on the mirror. Something dark was swelling within its surface, like ink spreading underwater. "It's been watching us since we arrived," she said, voice trembling. "It used my journal. It knows my name." As she stepped closer, her reflection failed to follow. It simply stood there, smiling, with a mouth too wide to belong to her. A sharp crack splintered across the mirror as the reflection pressed its palm against the glass from the inside. "Mira," it crooned in a voice like hers, but hollowed out, stretched thin by hunger. Devin grabbed her arm. "We're leaving this room, now." They dashed into the hallway, the air suffocatingly dense, as if the hotel were exhaling around them. The walls groaned with slow, rhythmic pulses. "It doesn't want us to leave," Mira whispered. That was when they heard footsteps again. Heavy, dragging, but now accompanied by a faint, wheezing breath. They fled toward the stairwell, only to find the doors chained shut, fresh rust still flaking off the metal links. "These weren't here before," Devin said, yanking at the chains. Mira pressed her ear to the stairwell door. Something scraped its way up the concrete steps, slow and deliberate. A deep voice whispered from behind it, "Come back to your room." She backed away in terror. The hallway lights flickered violently, then went out. In the sudden darkness, something wet brushed her ankle. Cold, like a hand that hadn't been warm in decades. The lights snapped back on for a moment, and Mira screamed. At the far end of the hallway, her mirror reflection stood outside the glass now. Taller, its head tilted at an impossible angle. Its grin split open wider and wider until its cheeks tore. "You brought me out," it whispered. Devin grabbed Mira's hand. "Run!" As they sprinted, the reflection's fingers elongated, scraping along the wall as it chased them. Each step it took echoed through Mira's skull like a heartbeat. She realized with growing horror that it wasn't simply following her. It was trying to replace her. They burst into the lobby, breathless and shaking, only to find it impossibly altered. The reception desk was gone. The chandelier hung lower, swaying like something had pushed it. The walls, once lined with dusty portraits, now showed only one painting. Mira's reflection, standing in room 304, smiling calmly as if she had never left. Devin whispered, "This can't be real. Mira, this place is changing itself." But Mira stepped closer, unable to pull her eyes from the painting. In the portrait, her painted double lifted a hand and tapped the inside of the canvas, her smile widening. "It wants me back," Mira murmured. A low groan rolled through the hotel, deep and ancient, shaking dust from the beams above. The front doors, their only escape, slammed shut with a violent snap. Devin ran to them, pulling desperately, shouting, "Open! Come on, open!" The doors didn't budge. Instead, the floor beneath Mira's feet rippled like breathing flesh. Shadows coiled around her ankles. From behind, that impossible voice, her voice, whispered, "You left something in the room. Come finish what you started." Mira turned. The reflection creature stood only a few feet away now, its form flickering like a glitching video. "Why me?" Mira cried, her voice cracking. The reflection tilted its ruined head. "Because you see us, you hear us. You wrote about us, and anything that sees us belongs here." Devin stepped between them, trembling but firm. "You can't have her." The creature smiled, its jaw unhinging with a wet pop. "I already do." It lunged, but Mira grabbed Devin's arm and pulled him toward the elevator, the only place left that wasn't pulsing with shadows. They stumbled inside, smashing the button for the top floor, praying the ancient machine would move faster. As the elevator climbed, Mira felt something cold pressing against her chest. She looked down. A hand, translucent, familiar, was reaching out of her own reflection in the elevator door, gripping her heart. "Stop!" she screamed, pushing back against the glass. Devin slammed the emergency button, and the elevator jolted violently to a stop, snapping the reflection's arm and causing it to shatter into shards of moving shadow. They spilled out onto the top floor, and Mira collapsed, breath ragged. She knew what she had to do. "It wants me in 304. If I don't go, it won't let either of us leave." Devin grabbed her shoulders. "Mira, no. That's insane." But she met his eyes with a terrible calm. "It's been calling me since we arrived. It won't stop." She turned toward the staircase leading back down, the air growing colder with every step. When she reached room 304, the door swung open silently. Mira stepped inside. The room sealed shut behind her. Devin screamed her name, but the hotel swallowed the sound. Moments later, the mirror inside 304 smoothed over like water settling, and Mira's reflection returned, smiling gently, perfectly normal. By morning, the teachers found Mira sitting calmly at the desk, silent, eyes empty. But no one noticed that her reflection no longer blinked.